Hello and welcome to another episode of the FemiNinja Project. And I have a really fantastic and fun guest with me today. Her name is Lesley Logan. She is a certified Pilates teacher, mindset coach, host of the Be It Till You See It podcast, and founder of the first free online catalog of Pilates exercise tutorials, who has traveled the world leading workshops and retreats. Lesley has trained hundreds of people to become teachers themselves and has taught thousands of students worldwide. She also offers fitness business coaching through her private mastermind, but there's a whole lot more to her story than that, and she's going to share it with us. So, Lesley, thank you so much for being here and welcome to the show.
Cheryl, thanks for having me. This is going to be a fun conversation. I can tell already.
Oh, yeah, we've already had a really fun time. So, just what I think about you, your story is so compelling. You've done so much with your life, and your journey is so amazing. But what I find the most fascinating is how you came to Pilates in the first place.
I know. I wanted to start because anyone's like, oh, I don't want to talk about Pilates today. I think it's this or I think it's that. Just so you know, I thought it was an infomercial workout. I thought it was a bunch of BS. I thought it couldn't do, the infomercials that like sell you the DVDs or the VHSs because that's, like what I was seeing. It was like, buy these VHSs. And but I had a girlfriend, like a coworker, and I really needed a friend. And I think like community is something we all need, like some way of belonging.
Hmm.
Now there's so many different ways you can belong to communities and be in person. But I went to this class kind of kicking and screaming, just thinking like, I'll just go this one time. I'm just going to buy the drop in. I'm not going to come back. And I felt parts of my body I never felt before. And you guys, if you don't know me yet, I was an athlete. I did a certification for personal training. Like I was a kinesiology major. Like I know muscles. So
Uh-huh.
for me to like feel parts of my body I never felt before and have been such a gym rat, like just shocked me. And I changed everyone's schedule at the store I ran so I could go every single day and just became so obsessed. And in my obsession, I just got to know myself so much more. And that's why I'm like kind of the biggest proponent of people doing actual Pilates and having a Pilates practice or any kind of movement practice because you do get to know yourself so well. And I think that's where a lot of us are lost is we don't know ourselves very much. So that's how I got into Pilates. And then someone's like, you should teach it. And I was like, I'm $80,000 in student loans. How does one become a Pilates instructor? And then, but you know what? It worked out. It worked out really, really well.
Mhm. Well, I love the fact too that you say how the movement, how you get to understand your body, you get to know your body, and you get to know yourself, which is the beauty of somatic movement. And for someone who was never really an athlete, but I started ballet at a late age, I started skiing at a young age, but I really didn't know movement or how to move. And then you get into the rut of, oh, you have to exercise. And, I told you before we started recording, I'm a recovering physical therapist who hates exercise and thinks that chocolate is food. But, just exercise for the sake of trying to beat your body up is
Yeah.
actually a lot more destructive to our bodies and our minds and our spirit than it is to be able to do a practice like Pilates, whether it, being on the reformer, the trap table, the mat work, all of it is just so encompassing.
Yeah, and I think well, that's why I like to call it a movement practice. And your movement practice can be something that goes to the gym. It can be doing things like that. But also, let's be really honest. Most people are so busy
Mm.
uh with children, work, life. Life is really busy right now. Like if we thought we were busy when we were kids and there was no phones and you were like running to get to the phone before the answer machine picked it up, like it's so busy now and people's minds are so full. And so to me, we all need a movement practice that actually helps us feel better
Hmm.
because that's going to allow us to have more energy, time, generosity, love for the people around us. And I think a lot of people listening, if you are over 40, definitely over 35, the magazines were telling you all the different ways to punish yourself for the things that you ate, for that chocolate. That is food, by the way. It's an actual macronutrient, like it's food. Um, your body does crave it for a reason, especially the good kind. But I think a lot of people because they think it has to be, if it's not hard, if it's all pain, no gain, like,
Hmm.
or all gain, no pain, like I'm not, interested. None of that is actually great for your body. And also, it's not how our brain actually wants to move. So your brain, I've been really lucky to study with BJ Fogg about how habits are truly created. And he talked about how the brain actually seeks out things that make us feel good. And so
Hmm.
if your workout causes you to shame yourself, judge yourself, be angry with yourself, there's a reason why you're not thinking about doing it every day.
Hmm.
It's the things that actually make your brain have a dopamine high, that make you feel proud of yourself, that make you feel strong. That kind of stuff actually is how habits are created. And so for me, I had to go from that mindset, that 80s, 90s mindset was put into me, like, work out, don't eat too much. That's how you're going to stay lean. And just growing up in a household where my grandmother was wildly, she has a larger body, but a larger body. And so she was always on a diet. And then there was the
Hmm.
binging. And so, like, I grew up around, like, you just eat as little as possible and you work out as much as you can, and that's going to be healthy. And what I discovered in my 20s is you can be thin on the outside and fat on the inside.
Hmm.
And you can hurt yourself working out and undernourishing yourself. And so when I got into Pilates, that connecting to myself, what it really taught me was, like, what was making me happy? What was making me excited? What was giving me joy? Where was I seeking out things? And it allowed me to understand, like, not just who I am and what my body needs and what my body likes, but what I'm good at, what I'm capable of. And it just really set off this, like, domino effect in my life that made it so that movement is something that I do every day for myself and not as a
Hmm.
punishment. It has nothing to do with what I ate.
Hmm. Hmm. There's nothing like that feeling of getting off of the reformer or up off the floor or off of the fitball or whatever it is that you're doing, even if it's a light run, if you're a walker, a hiker, something that really, it's not only about moving your body, it's doing something that fills your heart with joy. And if you can't find something, if you're, I had a lot of my clients would say, I hate exercise, I don't exercise. And one of them was a dear friend of mine. And I says, but don't you and your husband go line dancing every weekend? And she says, oh, yeah, we love that. And I'm going, you're moving. You found something that you really loved. I mean, the E word, we just need to kind of get rid of it and just find our passion. Going to ballet class in a room full of people, men and women who share the same passion that you do. And it's just a completely different experience than I ever had, like trying to lift weights or doing things like that.
Yeah, Cheryl, I agree. Like, I do think it needs a reframe. And I think, like, one of my friends is a functional medicine doctor, and I was like, am I just, like, really needy? Because, like, I have a question, like, oh, I'm feeling like this right now. And she's like, no, you're just really connected to your body.
Hmm.
And the more connected you are, the more you learn about yourself. And so I can change the way my day is going to go and what I give myself because of how connected I am. When I wake up and I go to move, I can tell, like, oh, I'm really tight today. So no, we're not going to go lift weights right now. We are going
Hmm.
to open our body up, give it what it needs, drink some water, get some stuff going. So then the best version of myself can go lift weights. If I just go, no, Tuesdays when I lift weights, that's not listening to my body. And when we don't listen to our body is when we get injured, it's when we have
Hmm.
setbacks. But so many people are so not connected. They don't even they're in their mind and their mind is in the body, but they're not talking. They're talking two different languages because they haven't spoken so
Hmm.
much. And so I just really encourage anyone to start, just like, be curious, put a question mark on, oh, I'm tired. Question mark. I'm tired? Am I tired? What did
Hmm.
I do last night? Oh, I looked at my screen. I procrastinated to sleep because I wanted to have control of my day. Okay, great. No shame, no judgment, just an observation, like an experiment, like a scientist would. And the more we can actually really start to put a question mark around this, I'm feeling great. Feeling great? Huh, what did I do today? Oh, I actually, I had a new breakfast this morning. I found these new bagels that are gluten-free and dairy-free, and they have 10 grams of protein. Holy moly, I feel so good in the afternoon when I usually feel sluggish. So the more you can do that, the more you are listening to your body, and your body is different than my body. Cheryl's body is different than my body, not just age, but, like, all the things that she needs to do the things that she loves versus what I have to do for what I love.
Hmm. Absolutely. And the other thing is, I just want to add, when you understand your body and you know your body that well, then if you do have an injury, if you do have a setback and you need help and you want to go to a medical professional, to get some help, you already have a list of tools. You understand your body, how it works, what makes you feel better, what makes it worse. And then you can have more of a relationship, a working relationship with that person rather than walking into an office and saying, fix me.
Oh, Cheryl, I love this. Also, you'll be able to advocate for yourself more because if they're like,
Right.
oh, because like, so now I'm the age, right? Like, so I'm 42. So I met a GP 2 years ago, and she goes, "Well, you're over 40, so that's just how your hormones are going to be." And I was like, I am 40, but I didn't jump off a cliff. And I know that there's enough science out there that with research, I could be feeling better. So if you aren't going to do that research, I'm going to advocate myself somewhere else.
Mhm.
Versus someone, a friend of mine who is so disconnected from her body. She has no idea how long she's been feeling the way she's been feeling. So when she goes to the doctor, when they go, how long have you been feeling this way? She can't pinpoint. And so
Wow.
then, of course, she can't really advocate for herself. She's going to feel frustrated. And now she has to start paying attention to how long she's feeling this way because they're going to want to wait and they want to see how long this is going for. So the more you know yourself, the more you can go, is this pain an injury? Is this
Hmm.
pain something that's just happening right now? Or how long have I had this pain? And that help allows any professional in your life to be able to help you. When I have a client who comes with me and they go, oh, my back pain, my back always hurts. How long has it been hurting? It just always hurts. Okay, it's hard for me. I can still build a workout, but now you and I have to work together on like, is this pain or is it a challenge? Right? Like, is this pain or a challenge? Is it hard? Because the other thing as bodies is we have a hard time deciphering between something that's difficult to do and
Hmm.
painful to do. So that's why it's so important to know what you're going through with your body, because then when I work with you and you can go, oh, that's not pain, it's just hard for me to do. Okay, well then you're up for the challenge. That's good, So it's really important. And I just hope people understand like this is not, Cheryl and I are not saying sit still and think about your body. It's
Hmm.
actually just being in your body and noticing what your body's doing versus like, and I'm going to do this after this, and I'm going to do this after this, and I'm going to do this after.
Well, and listen to what your body is telling you. Even if you're having pain somewhere, it's like listen to your pain because I think that pain is a really powerful teacher. And more than once, it's actually happened twice so far that I went to my PCP with chest pain. And the reason why I went, it was like, I think I know what this is. I think it's either, one time I think I pulled a serratus and that kind of the referred pain into my chest. And the other time was something in martial arts that we were doing that we were actually attacking cardiac points. And I didn't realize that. And it was like, why? My heart's going to just burst out of my chest. What is this? And it was like, I wonder if it's those Hoshi points. So I went and said, I think I know what's happening, but because it's my heart and I'm over 50, just check it out, make sure everything's okay, and then I'll go and do what I need to do.
Yeah, I thank you. Those stories, I have we all done that? We're like, like someone, like I'm having chest pains and it's really just like bad gas or something. But you know what? But you also, when you know your body, it's what, like, okay, actually, this is my heart. I am concerned. It could be, it's a part of life is just experimenting
Hmm.
and going and it's not being right. And it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to find a reason for things. You knew what your reason is, but sometimes we just need to just be aware.
Hmm.
Oh, I'm not really breathing through my nose right now. And by the way, when you don't breathe through your nose, of course you have anxiety. Mouth breathing causes hypertension, it causes stress, it causes sinus infections. Like so these are just things that, and just so you know, I wasn't, and I want to speak for Cheryl, but I'm sure you can share. I was not someone who listened to my body. I'm a child of the 80s and 90s. I ran as much as I could. I was a runner. I ran as much as I could. I ran until I had shin splints. Once I had shin splints, then I would take a break and then I'd start again. Right. Like, so I was not someone who listened, and I'm an Aquarius. And if you know astrology, I'm in my head all the time. I'm also a hypermobile body. So good luck connecting and feeling like people like stand on your own 2 feet. And I'm like, well, I don't actually feel my feet on the ground. So what am I standing? So I'm not someone who knew what that was.
Hmm.
It's through my Pilates mat practice specifically on the ground, being on the ground and repeating Joe's exercises in my body and comparing myself to myself and going, well, that was easier. Oh, that's harder. Oh, I can do that exercise now. I couldn't do it before. I didn't understand it. That, and then when I got to the reformer and the rest of his system, that's how I got to be here. So you can change. You can be someone who can listen to your body. It took me years to be able to have a conversation with my own body and know what it was wanting.
Right. Well, it took me until I was probably in my 40s. By the time I hit 50, it was like, okay, now I think I've got this figured out. But, things do change. And as we age, and not that I'm saying things fall apart because they don't. I'm a huge advocate for healthy aging. Wrote a book about it and everything. But, the things that people tell us that are going to happen as I use the word mature, because I don't even
Mhm.
like the aging word, is, oh, well, your spine is going to start shrinking. Oh, your gut's going to start getting big because you're going to lose muscle tone. Oh, make sure you start taking these medications because you're probably going to break a bone if you fall. I mean, it's just the terrible things that we're told from the experts, the medical professionals. It's all bull. But if you hear it often enough, then it's in your mind. Your brain is listening, and it's like, okay, well then I can't do this. I can't ski anymore because I'm 70. I can't do this, and that's just not true. If you
Yeah.
just keep listening to your body, being smart about it, your body is made to last a very long time. And I am a child of the 50s and 60s, and they didn't know
You had lead in
whole.
your paint.
Yeah, and we're happy about it.
Oh my God. It just made me think of it. I was watching, there's some woman on my Instagram and I don't know how old she is, but she has a car that is like 40 something years old. Like just for cars, it might even be older than that, you guys. It might be like from the 60s at any rate. So it might be 50 years old. She bought lifetime warranties whenever they were for sale on every part. So anytime there's a lifetime warranty, she bought it, right? So she's had this car for decades, multiple decades, and has paid $0 to have it repaired. And it's such an old car and so unique. She has like a map of like where everything is in the car. Like she knows this car. She's got a binder, right? And I was just laughing because I was like, look at this woman. First of all, she's doing great. She's with it. Her brain's there. She's still driving herself around. And I was like, if we took as good a care of ourselves as we do our cars, we would be in such great shape, because it's not about like what does healthy look like, but what does it feel like, right? And so a lot of people though, they make sure that the oil gets changed, the gas is going, they got the fluids going, but they are not taking care of themselves. They're not making sure the shocks on their body are well done. They're putting shoes on that are not right for their feet, that make it hard for their feet to walk. And then they wonder why they have back pain. Well, years of walking in shoes that don't allow your feet to move like feet are supposed to move, that is going to affect you.
Hmm. I love you. That's one of my favorite topics is feet. They didn't used to be, but several years ago, I was taking, well, it was right before the pandemic, actually. I was taking ballet from a woman she was a Reiki master. She was a Tai Chi master. She was a former ballerina. She, cranial sacral, all kind of stuff. And she was so much about keeping people healthy so they can dance rather than, ballet can really rip your body to shreds.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating because she herself was in her mid 70s, and she spent so much time on the feet. And my feet actually did change because I had one, I still have bunions, but they're not as big as they used to be. Had like the hammer toe, had a Morton's neuroma. All of that stuff is gone just through paying attention to how I was walking, how I was moving, massaging my feet, doing exercises. It was just amazing. So your body has just an incredible capacity to change and to heal itself. That I really
Mhm.
like to emphasize that so people know it's okay. You're not stuck with this.
Yes. So I like just the way my feet are designed, I already had like a big toe mound. So my
Mm.
feet as a child looked a little bit like there could be a bunion there, and there wasn't. But what did happen as I got into my college years is my big toe stopped being in the same line as that bump and moved over, right? So now bunion. So I actually got to interview some people who like are really big on the feet. They're in Colorado. They're called Gait Happens. And I was always just so amazed by how high my arches are and so proud that here I'm at 42 and I've kept my high arches. My feet didn't fall or anything like that people have happen. Well, that my high arch is literally why I have the bunion that I have
Hmm.
because my foot is never touching the floor. So I have to do feet stretches to help my feet out in that way. And it's really, really fascinating. So I become even Joe Pilates was super fascinated with the feet. He had a foot corrector, he had a toe
Hmm.
corrector. The toe corrector, you guys, you can easily make with rubber bands, and it's just so good for your
Hmm.
toes to like work your feet. You could do it while you're watching TV. You don't even have to worry about like setting aside time. Um, and then he had these towel exercises and marbles. And now
Yeah.
some people don't love how much work he was doing on like wrapping the toes, but I can't with individual toes. My big toe can pick up a marble. My second toe can pick up a marble. My third toe, fourth. So, and I can spread my toes, all these things. And he's really big on working all parts of the feet, the balls of the foot, the arches of the heel. And so I can say happily that Pilates has really helped prevent my
Hmm.
bunion from being worse. It's just a mild one. But even with that, like your ballet teacher, I have to work on massaging them. I have to
Hmm.
work on spreading them. I have to pay attention to like, how do I stand in my feet? Look at your shoes. Your shoes will tell you which foot's dragging, which like just if you
Hmm.
some people even say like if you can't afford it, buy two pairs of the same shoe and then wear the shoes for like a month and then look at how the shoe changed from the pair that you haven't put on. And then that can dictate like the work you have to do.
Hmm. That's fascinating because I have one foot that's about a half a size smaller than my right is a half a size smaller than the left. So it doesn't bother me, never bothered me in snow in regular shoes, didn't bother me in ski boots, but when it came to the point shoe, that was a problem.
Oh, wow. Girl, you're on point.
Well, not anymore. I have my shoes. I haven't thrown them out yet. But so what I would have to do is, because point shoes, they don't come in a right or a left. There's just like, here's your shoes.
Oh, did you buy
So,
two pairs, one of each size?
yes,
Oh, so expensive, so annoying.
so annoying, but boy, did it help.
Right, because what you do is stuff one toe so that you're
Right. Yeah. So any of the other options did not work very well. So I just had to bite the bullet and buy, two pairs of the same size. And, then it worked. Or, yeah.
Ah,
So, yeah. But
feet are fascinating, but like I'm telling you, if you have back pain, look at your feet.
yeah.
Your feet are dictating your because it's the tires and the shocks of the car. Like that's
Hmm.
if your tires are off, your shocks are going to wear out faster. Your brakes are going to change. Like that's all of it. If you don't want to understand the body, you can understand how your car works.
Well, I have to tell you, I never did try picking up the marble, but I do the towel stuff and all that, everything. But we would have this ballet teacher of ours, lifting one toe off the floor, just like you're saying, one at a time. And I actually can do like the rond de jambe on layer. So my pinky toe can actually do like a rond de jambe movement
Okay,
ballet.
that's
Yes,
impressive. That's
yes.
impressive because in the toe corrector, you're supposed to do even like the big toes can do their
Hmm.
own circle. And I am still working really hard. Like I can like to make sure I point only my big toe without changing, without pulling these toes back to do it. Like these toes just and just point the big toe and then flex just the big toe and point and flex. And then you can draw circles with the big toe. And I'm in the process of thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, I like to tell people it's like, and I would show them that I could do those circles with my pinky toes and then I could do both feet at the same time, both pinkies. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's really amazing." And I said, "Well, it really does look good on a resume."
I mean, it's a fun fact, when everyone's like, "Do you have a fun fact?" Yeah, or like two truths and a lie. Like I can draw circles with my pinky toe.
And it's funny, I do that when we're watching TV and even right now I've got those toe sandals, like the pedicure
Hmm.
sandals that are a little firmer to separate the toes. So I'm constantly able to wiggle them and stuff. So if you're listening to this episode, really look into taking better care of your feet. There's so many things
Hmm.
that you can do. In the olden days, like when I was a teenager and when my mother was having foot pain, it was like you go to the podiatrist and they'll try and do things. And sometimes they recommend surgery. And I don't know, just
Insoles and all that stuff. You don't need those things. I mean, you might need those things, but you also don't need those things. Like go get help on it because it's kind of amazing. Like my husband has plantar fasciitis, and so he was wearing Birkenstocks, and then his feet don't hurt. And when I interview these people, they're like, he should be barefoot. He should be walking
mhm,
around the house barefoot.
mhm,
And sure enough, like the more he got, yes, there was pain in the beginning, but the
mhm,
more he does barefoot, the less pain he has. Like it's, like we think, oh, I have this pain, so I should do this,
mhm,
and it's a band-aid as opposed to a solution.
mhm. I actually don't do barefoot in the house that much, but what I do, and this is my morning ritual, and don't tell anybody, this is just between the two of us. So I will go outside, especially now because it's getting warmer in Colorado. In the morning, first thing in the morning, I kick off my shoes and I walk barefoot. I call it my mindful walking because I have
Mm.
two dogs. So I walk barefoot in the grass. It's a huge yard and pick up what needs to be picked up. So the mindfulness, because you don't want to step in anything, you are barefoot, and being barefoot and walking, just feeling, oh, the sensations
Mhm.
in your feet with the uneven surfaces and everything. And it
Mhm.
took me until I was in my early 50s to be able to do that, because I used to think that walking barefoot was just so, ooh, uncivilized.
It because that's I mean, like my grandparents, one set grew up during the Depression, the other set grew
Mm.
up on a farm as like hippies. So like I like it would be unheard of to not have shoes on because like poor people didn't wear shoes in the house. Like that is like you have and you also didn't wear jeans. And the other family like get out, kick your shoes off, get out, run around outside. No, get dirty. Like so it's really quite funny, but I do get my yoga teacher always said like the worst inventions were like shoes and chairs. And so the more you can spread your toes and work your feet. There's another great exercise series you can do. You guys, you can make this yourself. I have a blog on how to make a 2x4, and it's legitimately like a 2x4. It's at 18 inches long, and you go to the hardware store and you take a 2x4, and then you take an old yoga mat. Okay. And then you're going to wrap it around this 2x4. So the bottom part will only have the yoga mat one time and the top part will have it two times. So it's a little softer for the feet. But then you put your balls of your feet on this block, and then you do a series of squatting where you don't lean forward or back because you'll fall. The 2x4 will put you out of balance, and it helps you understand how to press evenly through the ball of your foot while you spread your toes. It works your ankles because a lot of people's ankles are quite stiff and they can't get their heels to the floor on a 2x4. If you can't get your heels on the floor from a 2x4, we got problems. Okay, we got tightness in your hips, we got tightness in your back, and so it's this really great series, and there's like two or three exercises on it. I know you're like, that's, I'm going to do all that effort for two or three exercises. It's going to take you less than 2 minutes. You can do it every day. The reason I shared it with you is so many people like, I don't have time to move. I don't have time to exercise. You cannot tell me you don't have 2 minutes to do this little series, this little squat ditty. And the goal is to not use a wall, but you can use a wall. I have a whole free tutorial on it. It's so easy to implement into your life, and it will change how your feet work, how they connect to your seat. It'll keep you from shuffling because so many people wake up and they're shuffling. And I'm like, what are you like? My husband the other day got out of bed and he was, I'm like, no, 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 no. Go back down, sit down, do some ankle rolls, get a ball on your feet, get some blood flow going, and then walk. But you walk like this, you're going to walk like this further down the hall every day. No, no, no.
Yeah, and walk backwards. Walking backwards is really good for your feet. Just make
Mm,
sure that you know what's behind you, or you're not walking off a cliff or whatever.
yeah.
But yeah, walking backwards is really, really awesome. So I want to go back and okay, so this how to make a 2x4, that's on your YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us, what is your YouTube channel? And
Yeah. The YouTube, it's just youtube.com/at online Pilates classes.
okay.
But you can also just search Lesley Logan 2x4. Well, like you can even search my name. Or Lesley Logan, how to make a 2x4. That'll come up in YouTube, but my YouTube channel is just youtube.com/at online Pilates classes. So just make sure you have the classes part.
Okay, when I hear that, 2x4, the little ninja brain in me starts kicking in and thinking about the things you could do with a 2x4.
Right. You are gonna love it. And you probably, because of all of your ninja work, can probably find different things you can do on that board. Joe just had this like one little series, and well, there's definitely some old tutorials on it. We're gonna break them all out eventually because
Hmm.
we made I made flashcards so that you can actually like how to do the towel exercise at home, how to pick up the marble, how to pick up a pencil, how to do 2x4. But there's some old videos already up right now, so you don't have to wait for the new ones to come up. They'll be there, and I'm telling you, it's so good. When we made the 2x4, we actually made it on camera, and I felt like the Today Show, like Martha Stewart, like making a pie.
Okay, so now that's another thing I want you to talk about a little bit more is your online classes, because you were the first person to ever like do a catalog.
Yeah, so people are putting videos out on YouTube, but no one actually put a catalog together and then made it searchable. So we actually like, yes, YouTube is really easy to search, but also sometimes you get like a ton of different things that kind of could be the same thing. And so what we did was put it together by playlists on our website. You can actually use our app for free.
Hmm.
The OPC app is in Google or or an Apple phone, and you don't have to be a member to actually watch our tutorials for free, and they're organized by the mat, reformer,
Hmm.
and then we have props and accessories separate. And so, to me, my goal is to make Pilates as accessible as possible. Of course, some people listening will need to have access to reformer or Cadillac or the other tools. Joe created them because the mat work is hard. But what I love about a lot of his accessories and props, they are things you can do at home as homework in between sessions. So if you can only afford to go to a studio to be on the equipment once a week, you can do your mat and accessory work at home. And so it was really important to me just to make that whole catalog free. So I think we have like 1,000+ videos now of
Hmm.
just free how to do this. And then because all those videos are out there, I go live on Sundays answering the questions we get in the comments so that
Oh,
like if people are
nice.
like, okay, I did that, but I struggle with this part, then I can actually just dive in on that part.
Hmm. Yeah, I actually did a video on and put it on YouTube, and this was a long time ago, and I had no idea what I was doing, but I did it anyway. And it was because I had I had a studio and clinical reformer, and then I had a reformer trap table combo unit that I absolutely loved. And of course, I closed my practice in 2017 and sold both pieces because I couldn't get them down here in the girl cave. Wouldn't be possible. But just what I loved so much about it, because a lot of my clients were, they were either injured or in really bad shape or whatever. It's so supportive being on the reformer or using the trap table. It's just such a supportive environment to be able to do movement, even if you're in pain, even if you have, injuries or whatever. It's just such an amazing. The man was brilliant.
He was so brilliant. He was so great. The founder of Balance Body.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Ken came to my house a couple weeks ago. He's a dear friend. I'm very blessed in my Pilates career to have some great friends in my life. And he came and his team found like the trademarks or the copyrights, the patents of the original Universal Reformer, and they made a video of what it would look like if like it was made in real life. But on the patent, Joe didn't have a way to stop the carriage, so on the Reformer, it just would have gone off. It would have just gone off. So clearly, it was not fully fleshed out. But he always said, you don't go to market with your first idea. You don't go to market with a pat. You kind of like tweak it and make changes. But that's why so the thought is that like the trap table, the Cadillac, or it came before the reformer, and then the reformer came around and the chair. All these things were created because he saw people struggling with the mat work, struggling
Mhm.
to curl their head and chest up, struggling to have access to the strength of their back or their legs. Just because the way our life is, our
Mhm.
life puts us a lot in our frontal plane and the body parts in the front and not for the back. But Pilates is all for the back side of the body. And
Mhm.
so I agree. Like I'm sorry you couldn't get in your girl cave because I just have it in my living room. My husband has just decided to like, this is part of the way it goes. We're just gonna have a reformer in 3 rooms of this house and
Yep. Well, I do have a reformer that I bought. Oh my gosh, it was actually a balanced body home unit that they had years ago. Okay, I bought it, I'll tell you, 1996. That's how old it is.
oh my
So
gosh.
I know. So that is in one of the rooms back there. So I do have that. And, my husband and I are planning a move. It's not going well, the plans, but we're planning to move to another state. And I'm hoping to have a big enough area that I can purchase another
Yeah,
reformer
at
trap
least
table. I don't know.
get a reformer tower unit because they don't take up a lot of space and
Yeah.
you have all the good parts of the Cadillac, the trap
Yeah.
table, and I like those.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just like, and if everything about it, it's just so. It's just such an amazing tool to get strong, to get long, to develop your muscles, and it's so good on your joints. I mean, it's the whole package. Here,
Well,
here I am preaching to the choir.
I mean, but I think, well, also people need to hear it too. But like I do yoga and I do weightlift and I do like walk and all the things. And I use all these other ways of practicing to understand what I need to do more with my Pilates, because for me, the Pilates is like kind of the glue that keeps all this together. So like if I was struggling with my squats yesterday. I could feel it in my knees. I'm like, why am I feeling the top of my knees? Like, what's going on? And then I was like, okay, so today was my Pilates practice. I'm like, what exercises would help open up the muscles that surround the knee?
Hmm.
Oh, what would strengthen the sides, the inside, the back of the leg, so that whatever is causing strain and tension on the top of my quad, I can reduce that through my Pilates practice. I don't have to go, oh,
Hmm.
let me take a break from my gym routine. No, there's something going on in my gym routine that isn't supported. And so my Pilates practice is like where I get to like noodle around to support my body. And then I use the things that are, I don't really love weight training, but gotta keep my bones good. I use the things I love in my life where I'm like, oh, I wobbled. Oh, on the hike. Like we went hiking the other day and I was like, it's been a while since we hiked. And I'm like, wow, I'm really feeling this in my hips. What haven't I been doing in my Pilates? Oh, I haven't been doing my outer hip stuff. So let me add that back in. Like, so to me, I don't do Pilates so I can just do Pilates. I do it so I can do everything I like in my
Hmm.
life better.
Hmm.
And I think if people look at their movement practices like, what is it you do? You love chasing after your grandchildren? Do you love traveling? If you love traveling, you guys, the world is are if you are living in the US, listen to this, you are so spoiled because in the world, a lot of the roads are dirt or gravel or like some
Hmm.
sidewalks are really tall and some sidewalks are really low and like stairs are not equal.
Hmm.
And so, having a Pilates practice that allows you to handle the changes in the terrain allows you to travel. So whatever you're loving, you need to find a movement practice that supports that because that's the otherwise, you're going to miss out on the things that you love in this life. And then what's the point? What are we doing?
Well, and just as you were describing that, it goes back to the idea of knowing your body, listening to your body and understanding, okay, it's not that my knees hurt, it's that my body is communicating something. I need to do something a little bit differently. What is that? And when you do that and you figure it out on your own, that is so empowering.
Yeah. 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 And isn't that what all we want? Like, I think we deep down, like people say they want confidence or they want to be more organized.
Mhm.
But really, I think we want to be empowered. I think we want to feel
Mhm.
independent and autonomous, have agency.
All during the course of our life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not give that authority over to somebody else to say, here, fix this, or,
Mhm.
You're taking a chance.
Right. I mean, like there's someone who um she's in Utah. She takes sessions from me and she had like, one of the famous gold medal Olympic skiers, surgeons did surgery on her knee and fucked it up. So like even when you have the best of the best that you're like, "Oh my God, this is like so and so surgeon. I'm in great hands."
Hmm.
And for like, but everyone is a human being. So mistakes are going to happen. Something can go wrong. And so I'm not saying she's at fault for having the surgery, but like you can't expect even the best to get it right all of the time.
Hmm. I just interviewed a guy who had a similar story. He had this, I can't remember what the injury was. I think patella tendon ripped off as he was doing I can't remember what it was. But when they took him to the hospital, the surgeon says, oh, yeah, you're never going to run again. You're never going to jump again. You're never going to do this. You're never going to do that. And he's like, you can't tell me what to do. And so the guy did do the surgery, but instead of being a 2 hour surgery, it was a 4 hour surgery because he initially put the tendon in the wrong place. And I just had to laugh and I said, oh, this is the genius that told you you were never going to run again or jump again.
Oh my
But,
God. Oh my
mhm,
God. Yeah.
you know.
Mm-mm.
So, I mean, that stuff happens. And I don't know, are you familiar with Feldenkrais?
I don't know it well, but I know it enough. I know
Mhm.
a lot of people that I think it's when I've seen people do it on the chair, but I think that that's a different version of Feldenkrais, correct? Like how do
You
you
you can do it standing, lying down, sitting in a chair. You can do it. I mean, there's a multitude of different ways to do it. But Feldenkrais has a funny name, the Feldenkrais method, because it was named after the guy that created the method. Moshe Feldenkrais. But his story is there's the joke about among the Feldenkrais community that if they're, if they had arthroscopic surgery back in Moshe's time, we would have no Feldenkrais method today because what happened, he had an injury, a knee injury from playing soccer, and it would just, get better then get worse, better, worse, better, worse. So he tried therapy, a couple of other things. Now, keep in mind, this is like in the 1930s. He
Like,
finally went to a surgeon. Imagine what knee surgery was back in the 1930s.
oh, can't even.
No, how brutal. And so the surgeon says, "Well, we can do the surgery and blah blah blah." And so Moshe says, "Well, what is the chance that it's going to take care of the problem?" He goes, 50-50. And so Moshe said, "No, thanks. I'll figure it out on my own." So that's how he ended up creating his own method by literally figuring it out on his own.
I love that. Thank you for, I never knew that story, but also like, if the doctor had said like 80%, then we probably wouldn't have a Feldenkrais because I would take those odds. But like
Hmm.
50-50, it's like, then I may as well keep going with
Yeah.
like try and figure this out because, like that's like not a bet I would want to take on my knee in 1930s. But I mean, like the thing that's cool is like science does get better and the surgeons do
Hmm.
get better and things are better. And that all being said, you can avoid ever having to work with any of them. If you
Hmm.
take care of your body, the sooner you can take care of it, the more you move it. Like our spines were not meant to sit on. They were not meant to be sat on. They're not it at all. And so most people's problems are their heads are getting far off their body. Shoulders are rounding forward. Their spine is shrinking because they are literally sitting in that position. And then they wonder why their hips are tight. All of these things are affecting you from moving. And so, yes, you're going to have injuries. Yes, you're going to have issues. So even myself as a Pilates instructor, I am looking down at bodies on reformers or mats all day. That's like looking at a computer screen. I'm looking down.
Hmm.
So every day I get on a barrel and I back bend over it and I work my back muscles in the opposite direction so that I can keep myself upright.
Hmm.
We all have to do our things.
Hmm. Well, not only that, it's good for your structure, but it's good for your health because when you do start having that forward head position, the rounded shoulders, the compression that it puts on your heart and your lungs, and all of your body functions just don't work quite the way they should or they're meant to work.
Yeah. Yeah. I read something that like poor posture affects hormone development, like
Oh yeah.
production. And I was like, oh my God, it's because there's so much pressure onto the digestive system. You're not digesting things correctly. And like your hormones are actually like from your gut. Like all of the gut is telling the body like what I need more of. What do we need more of? And so it makes so much sense. And
Hmm.
have you read like the more forward your head goes on your body, the more likely you are to see people coming at you as an attack, like the more in the lizard brain you're going. And so it becomes a horrible life to live because you're not seeing people reaching their hand out to offer you help. You're seen as like a punch coming at you. It's this whole thing that like how you view the world will change if your head is not on your body.
Hmm. Well, as a martial artist, yes, that head is always up. You have the flexibility. You're always looking around, and it's not because you're paranoid. It's just look at this beautiful world around me and all these wonderful people. Hey, that person doesn't look like a wonderful person. And then you just kind of
Yeah.
skedaddle away,
Oh my
hide.
God. I love it. I love that so much.
Okay, well, Lesley, I could spend the rest of my day talking to you, but I know that that's not really feasible. So, why don't you tell the listeners where they can find you, how they can get a hold of you, how to access the catalog of lessons, how they can connect with you? Just take it away.
Yeah. So if you are interested in Pilates, we have a ton of free stuff at onlinepilatesclasses.com. It's an easy thing to remember. There's links to everything on there if you want access to classes, things like that. If you are wanting, you're brand new, you don't have access to equipment, we even have a free series for you there. So you can, everything's at onlinepilatesclasses.com. But if you like social media, I hang out on Instagram. That's my favorite place. It's just my name, and I answer all my DMs and my comments. Same with YouTube. I already gave you that link, you guys, but it's just onlinepilatesclasses.com over on YouTube as well. And then if you like the sound of my voice, and you like listening to podcasts, be till you see it's not a Pilates podcast. It's just a place to like understand how can we be the person we want to be before we get there. And that was just because something I was just like Everyone's waiting for the right time to work
Mm,
out, the right time this. When I feel like this, and I'll do this. And the truth is that nothing ever happened from waiting.
mhm.
And so I recognize like confidence comes from taking action and doing the thing that you said you're going to do. And so I get to, talk about how to do that, and it's quite fun.
And you have over like 500 episodes.
Something ridiculous at this point, yes.
That's crazy.
Here's the thing, you guys. Consistency is kind of this crazy thing. You just keep showing up for
Mhm.
yourself and things turn into 500 episodes. Or you keep showing up for your practice, even if it's 10 minutes a day, and all of a sudden your body starts to feel better. Like the consistency is key is like one of the most cliche, but most like scientific phrases that's out there.
That's so funny because I fell into podcasting. It's a long story, won't get into it. And anyhow, I'm now heading up, I think you're at episode 398 or
Oh my
99. I'm
gosh,
not so.
Cheryl, look at
So,
you. Yeah.
yeah, it just, yeah, I mean, you, like you said, you just keep on going. And, it's almost now, it's a habit, just like,
Yeah.
getting out of bed and brushing my teeth and washing my hair and all that. It just, consistency, like you said, is the key. And I think that's one thing I really would love for the listeners to take away from this
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah. And like, and on that consistency thing, consistency doesn't actually care how many minutes it is, just that you show up consistently. So if you are trying to build a consistent practice, don't go, I'm going to do an hour a day. You don't have an hour a day. Your body doesn't even know how to move for an hour a day or study for an hour a day. So start with something small. And I know for the perfectionist listening, it's so hard. But I promise you, as a recovering perfectionist and overachiever, that perfectionism is getting in the way of you having a consistent practice of anything. And it really does change how your body feels and how you feel about the life you're living.
And if I remember correctly, you did say at one point, it's somewhere in your bio, that perfect is boring.
Perfect is so nobody wants to be friends with perfect. I had a girlfriend, I'll leave you with this story, you guys. I was a time in my life where I was without an address and I was kind of couch surfing. And my friends were like, just stay at our beautiful house. And it's a beautiful house in Beverly Hills area, like super easy to get around. And it was so perfect. There wasn't anything on the counters ever. There was nothing in the sinks ever. I like left a hair in the bathroom sink and I like thought about it for an hour. I'm like, oh my God. Like no one relaxes around perfect and
Mhm.
it doesn't make you feel good. So really truthfully, like the life happens in the imperfections and we learn more from our air quote failures than we do from the things that went perfectly well. And so just start to celebrate the imperfections and in yourself and in others, and you start to realize like life is so much more fun.
Absolutely. And one last little tidbit I do want to add about Lesley. And I guess I'm just kind of, maybe I'm projecting, but she likes dogs.
I love them. I'm kind of obsessed with them. I wish I could have a whole farm of dogs, but we only have one at this point. We had to say goodbye to two in the last 6 months, and to any
Oh,
dog lover out there is like, oh, like it's a heartbreak that like doesn't you can't even describe. But I love dogs, and here's the thing I love about a dog, you guys. They force you to have routine. So if you
mhm.
struggle with routine, get a dog because they do better with routine. And they make you go outside and like take a look at things and they notice things on the ground. They go, this is a different smell. And it's like, oh, it's the same tree. Why is it different? Like, I just think that you can learn so much from them.
Be like your dog. Go outside and roll around in the grass because mine
Yes.
love doing that and I love watching them. And at one point, we had 6 Italian greyhounds and a black lab mix.
Oh my gosh, Cheryl, I'm so jealous. I want a household of tons of dogs. And at this point in my life, with the travel that we have, I can't wait to go on tour with only one dog in a van, to be completely honest. It's been three. So it's going to be a whole different, we're going to have so much space. But to be honest, my heart is like in it. And I have found that I'm just like donating money on a weekly basis to these dog charities because I'm like, I can't adopt it right now, but here, keep them alive until I
Well, and actually, that's what I did. My husband and I ran a rescue for 7 years after I finished graduate school.
Cool.
And yeah. And so we would occasionally get a dog that nobody wanted, eventually they'd be here for a while. And it's like, well, what do? You keep them. You don't euthanize a healthy dog just because nobody wants it because
Yeah,
You don't
I
do that.
know. I know. It's really heartbreaking to me. Like I went on a mission 2 weeks ago. I like shared this poor dog's post like every day. I texted my friends. I'm like, you don't need you to foster or adopt them. I need you to post about someone fostering. And we got him a foster by the deadline. And I was like, okay, all right, I did it. Okay, who's next? Like I was I was like, okay, this is not the healthiest hobby for my nervous system, but I was like, I can pick, like I can do this. Like but I think, I don't have children. That's not what I have. I have four-legged children, and I also do help so many teachers and so many people
Hmm.
who want to get Pilates. So like that's where I am in my life. But I do really believe that like we can learn so much from our community, and our community is all of us. It's the animals, it's the people, it's everything. And so there's so much going on in the world that can make you have anxiety. Pick a cause that you feel like you can make some headway in and go all in on that, but then make sure you're taking care of yourself so you can keep doing that. I am no good to any of the people I help if I don't take care of me first. So yeah, oh my gosh. But someday I'll have a property in Peru with 1,000 dogs. I don't know.
Okay. And I was just going to ask you if you had any final pearl of wisdom or whatever to share with the listeners, but you beat me to it and you already gave us the best thing. Take care of yourself first.
Yeah, self-care is not selfish care.
No, 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 in spite of what we've been told growing up.
Yeah.
Well, Lesley, thank you so much for being here. This has been so much fun and such a pleasure to get to know you and to have you on the show. It's just been really an honor. Thank you.
For me too, Cheryl. Thank you so much. What a fun way to spend my day.
Everybody, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And please share this episode with everybody you know, especially if somebody's a little bit maybe Pilates phobic or they need a little bit of encouragement to get off the couch, to do some things that they don't want to do just the exercise. Uh, Learn how your body works, learn to listen to your body. It makes so much difference and it's going to make you a whole lot happier and healthier. And that is the way of the FemiNinja.